about putting down people, and I really don't like seeing that. Just because somebody has said something that might have offended you, that does not give you the right to say the same thing. I mean, you can, but you're going to be just as stupid as the person who attacked you, who insulted you. When you're dealing with adversity, you think about that. When you're dealing with adversity in your own life, let's just say you're going through a very difficult time. Let's just say it's some kind of a situation that it doesn't involve anybody. It could be anything. It could be illness, or maybe you lost your job, or your relationship or marriage fell apart. And so you just learn from the difficulty expressing the emotion. When you do that, that's a healthy way. You're examining the situation closely. You're trying to learn from it. You're doing your best. Why not do that to people who you may be in conflict with? Why not apply the same thinking there too? Why not? Because it's a difficulty too. So why not apply the same thing there too? For example, if you say, oh shit, that all white people are this way, this is just the way the white people are. If you say that, that means you gave up. That means you surrendered. And you're racist. Because it's not true. Even among Indian people, your own family, you know that you have family members that are kind of stupid and give out the worst advice and act like they're experts in everything. Every family has some people like that. And you know that their lives are all messed up. You've seen them as they follow their decisions and choices. You've seen that it always ends up in a bad way. You've seen that. That shows that they don't take the time to check the situation out. What can they learn from this? Or can the situation be adjusted? They don't use these techniques concerning learning from difficulties. They don't do anything like that. So it just ends up in a bad situation. Things just fail. So when you don't learn from it, you become a victim of it. And you're close-minded. You don't see the complete reality. You're only choosing to accept what you like. And that's disrespectful. And that goes hand in hand with respecting your enemy. When you look at dealing with difficult people, why not use the same process of dealing with difficulty in a healthy way with difficult people as well? So a smart person would say, okay, what led up to that? For example, in North Dakota, there was a court clerk who she was on vacation in Florida, and on her Facebook page, she made a comment about the protests on this Dakota Access Pipeline, and she said, why don't we just give it back? Why don't the oil company just go around it? The oil company can afford it. Well, that part is true. Why can't the oil company just go around it? Just give the Indians their artifacts and these sacred burial sites. Just let them have it. What's the big deal? And then she said, but at the same time, stop all the monthly checks that the Indians get. I mean, my God, it's been over 100 years. I think America has paid enough to these people. She said something like that. So she started out kind of smart and ended up dumb. Really racist. When this was pointed out, The county government that she works for reprimanded her. Her boss made a really smart statement. And her boss said, "We work for a court system that's supposed to be unbiased. That means that anybody who walks into this building deserves the same respect and treatment as anybody else. The people who come to court in this building should feel that their opinion is valued, that they are valued, because they're all, citizens of the state of North Dakota." And what their employees said really puts down Indian people. So they issued an apology and they said she's going to be reprimanded. See, that was a smart way. They dealt with their own in a very smart way. She has since apologized, deleted her Facebook account because she got 50,000 or so people jumping all over her on Facebook, and she's received some death threats even. And that's the part that bothers me, the death threats. See, this shows you that not everybody in the camp is peaceful. So when you look at that situation, look at the 50,000 people who said mean things to her and were being racist back to her, and the few who also threatened her life. Look at the way they chose to respond. That's unhealthy. She was racist, this is a fact. But these 50,000 people, they responded in a racist way too. And that's not good. So imagine this. Let's say a person got in a car wreck and had to have one of his arms cut off. Let's say he had to get his left arm cut off, but his right arm was totally okay. But instead he says, "Well, shit, I lost my left arm. God damn it, I might as well cut off my right arm too." Does that make sense? That's stupid. That's the same thing as answering racism with racism. It's stupid. That doesn't get you anywhere. I've seen many things that I really don't like seeing with these young Indian people that are making comments of, "Yeah, put the white people on boats and send them back to Europe." That's not going to solve anything. Then we're going to turn on each other. You know why? Because to say white people on boats and send them back to Europe, to say that is racist. And that means it's dualistic. Even if we somehow manage to do that, if we manage to send all the white people back to Europe, all the black people back to Africa, all the Asian people back to their Asian countries, even if we were able to do that, we're still dualistic. And when you're dualistic, you need an enemy. So once we get rid of all the non-Indian people, we're going to start turning on each other by saying, "Oh, your grandpa was white, so you're not Indian enough. So you have to go to Europe too." So we're going to start ethnic cleansing within our group. Now, let's say there's only full-bloods left in America, full-blood Native people. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Now, we're going to look for what separates us. Your Navajos are bad people. Oh, you Mohawks have funny haircuts. Oh, you Northwest Indians look goofy. So now we're going to start battling each other. We're going to start fighting each other. And that's how Indians came to be. See, this happened before. It's in the Lakota Star Note stories. This happened before. So to try to say, get all the white people back to Europe, that's not going to solve anything. We're going to turn on each other. We're going to find fault with each other because the problem is not white people. The problem is duality.
Duality. Either them or us. Dualism is when you see things only in two perspectives. The one you like and the one you don't like. And you say the one you don't like is, they're the bad ones, they're the evil ones. We must prove that we are right, and then they will follow us. And if they don't follow us, then we must destroy them. Think of all the world's problems that are caused by that kind of thinking. That is duality.
So the problem is not white people. The problem is duality. And if we don't address it, kicking out the white people is not going to solve anything. We're going to find fault with each other. That's why I don't like hearing these young guys talking bad things about white people, because this is not about race. This is about a greedy oil company, this Dakota Access Pipeline. It's a battle against the greedy oil company that wants to destroy the environment for profit. That's what it's about. Doesn't matter who it hurts. So when young people or anybody who talks this racist crap of sending white people back to Europe, this shows you that they're not like the ancestors whatsoever. They just want to put everybody down that they disagree with. And that is duality. They're oppressors. And sometimes they're victims who are responding in an oppressive way. But they're not healthy. They're not like the ancestors. This Facebook post where somebody put down the governor of North Dakota and the local sheriff of the area where this protest camp is. All the responses were racist. And somebody said, go tell him to Bapduza. That means bend over. But in Lakota, that's not an insult. When you drop something, you bend over to pick it up. What's so insulting about that? You might as well say standing up is an insult too. There's nothing insulting about the word Bapduze. So this is showing you that these young Lakota people are thinking in a dualistic way. And they're trying to use Lakota words to insult others. And that's disrespectful to our language, because our language was designed to embrace one another. Not just Indians, but everybody, even the plants, even the animals. No joke. Lakota language was designed to embrace creation because everything is connected. That's the whole idea behind Mitakwe Oyasi. How you are inside of yourself, everything is connected inside of you too. So how you are, how you communicate, affects everything inside of you and everything around you. That's Mitakwe Oyasi. And so our language follows that thought process. But when you use a Lakota word to try to insult somebody, you're going against the language. You're destroying the language. That's not our way. So that's why I'm saying this, because I don't like seeing this. I don't like seeing this overly focus on Indian things, because this is not an Indian battle. This is a human battle against the oil company. But a lot of these young Indians are making it an Indian against white thing too. That's disrespectful. Because in Lakota tradition, you respect your enemy. That doesn't mean you agree. But you don't put him down. Because you never know. In the future, you might need his help. He might need your help. And that's what we were designed to do, help each other. So, when you're looking at difficult people, the wise thing to do would be to look at it like a difficult situation and try to find out what's going on here. What is the story behind this? And I've seen situations where two people hated each other's guts, where in the difficulty that one of them realized, hey, wait a minute, we're very similar to each other. We go through very similar experiences. And something tragic happens, and then one thing leads to another, and the person says, you know, if something like this happened to me, I would want somebody to help me. So I'm going to go help this person. I'm going to go help my enemy. Because this is not a time to be enemies. So the person will go over there and say, hey, you know, I know we're fighting, but what you're going through, I feel sorry for that. That's not good for anybody to go through. Let's say his enemy got pancreatic cancer. Usually when you get pancreatic cancer, there's no coming back from that. It's a death sentence. So the other guy says, man, I really feel sorry for you. I don't wish that to happen to anybody, because he sees that his enemy is going to die and his children are sad. His wife is sad. He sees that his enemy's family is heading for a life of very hard times. So he says, I don't want anybody to hurt. And he says, let me do something for you and your family, because I respect you. We don't agree on something, but I do respect you. You're strong in your beliefs, and your family loves you, and this is a beautiful thing, because not everybody has a loving family. And now your family's going to go through difficulty. And I want to help in any way I can. I've seen this happen in my life. It's unfortunate that it took something like this to bring things together, but they made the best of the situation. They made the best of the situation. And then the healthy guy asked the cancer guy, I'd like to hunka you as my brother. This way I can take care of your family. And hunka is a Lakota ceremony of adoption. It was designed for non-Lakota people. You make them a relative. They don't become Lakota. They're not adopted into the tribe. No. They're adopted into the family. The cancer guy was a white man, and the other guy was a Lakota. So before he died, they went through the ceremony. They became brothers. And the two families came together. And the Lakota guy took care of those children like they were his own. And they accepted him as one of them too. When you hunka, the whole families come together like one big family. And the hatred was put away. They wanted to honor their dead relative by living in an honorable and respectful way. So that's a very smart way to deal with the difficulty, by checking it out. The Lakota guy said, oh shit, this guy has pancreatic cancer. He's going to die. Suddenly the racial nature just was not important anymore. Because cancer hits anybody. Cancer does not know race. And it does not know nice people or not nice people. It will hit anybody. Cancer doesn't judge anybody. I have to respect cancer because it doesn't judge anybody. It'll come for anybody. And so after thinking about it, then the two started talking. At the end, the families came together and became one. You see? Dealing with a difficulty in a smart way. The stupid way, the Indian guy would have said, ha 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 ha, see, that's what you deserve because you're a white man. That's the stupid way. And that's the same stupid thinking that these young native people are using when they're telling these white politicians in North Dakota to go baptize. That's so stupid. There's nothing insulting or derogatory about the word baptize. Same thing for the word washichu. There's nothing derogatory about that word. If washichu is derogatory, then Lakota is derogatory. If baptuze, which means to bend over, is derogatory, then inajin, which means stand up, is also derogatory. It's all nonsense. Answering racism with racism is stupid. But the smart way to deal with it is don't answer it with racism, but look at the situation and say, how did it get this way? And then you come at it in a healthy way where your communication is healthy. Now, even if the other people continue to be racist, that's their problem. It's not yours. You just continue to say wise, compassionate, healthy things. Be peaceful. Be prayerful. You have to have compassion. Racism gives out a really bad energy. This is why answering racism with racism never works. It's never justified. And it's only going to lead to worse situations. That's not the way of our ancestors. Like I said, when you have a difficulty in your life, you deal with it in a healthy way. Why not do that with people too? Because the result could end up becoming very beautiful. Like this Lakota guy and the white guy that I just told you about. That's a true story. I'm not going to say their names out of respect, but that's a true story. Tears me up every time I think about it because it's a beautiful story. It had a nice ending. It was a sad ending, but still it was nice too. This is something that we need to learn how to do. If we can do this with our own family, then we're obligated to do this with others too. But if you only do this to your family and you act in a contradictory way to others, you're a racist. So, this is why it's important how you live your life. It's very important because it decides everything. It influences your future. So, responding in a racist way is going to attract nothing but bad things. And unfortunately, a lot of Indians are this way because of this Christian brainwashing. A lot of Indians think this way today. That's why on the reservation, there's a lot of closed-minded Indians living there. In my past, I had a girlfriend who was African American. She's part native too. And she came to visit me in South Dakota. We went shopping to the grocery store called Lakota Thrifty Mart. And there was a Lakota family that was beside the car. They just got done shopping and they were getting in their car now. I was driving. She was in the passenger side. I got out. She got out. And I noticed that beside us, there was a Lakota grandmother. She was probably in her 70s. She saw
my ex-girlfriend.
And she said some very insulting things about
my ex-girlfriend
in Lakota. This is a woman in her 70s. She said some insulting things about
my ex-girlfriend
because she was black. So she insulted
my ex-girlfriend
in Lakota. Remember what I just said? Our language was designed to nurture the connections of all creation. That's Mitake Oyasi. This shows you not all old people are wise. This woman was a racist. I didn't say anything because I didn't want her to be hurt. I don't know if that was good or bad. My intentions was good. I did not want her to feel hurt. So we went to the store and we got our stuff, and then we went back to my house, and I called up my mom and I was telling my mother what happened. And my mother was saying, Jesus. Yes, that goes to show you, not all old people are smart. That old people can be racist too. The duality is really strong on the reservation, which means that most of the Indians are not like the ancestors one bit. And this is why you see so many of them making racist comments on Facebook against white people. Racism is unhealthy energy. It poisons the mind, it poisons the body, it poisons the soul, it poisons the emotions. That's everything inside of you. And since reality begins within, it poisons everything around them too. It's toxic to people around them, to the earth. It's toxic to animals. It's toxic to everybody, everything. And it's toxic to nature. And that poisons the water too. So answering racism with racism is not the answer. The way to deal with racism is to deal with it like it's a difficulty. That's the healthy way. So you treat it like a difficulty. Learn from it. You will become wiser. And you might actually influence that racist person to change. Just like this story I told you about. When you treat it like a difficulty, you're nurturing the connectedness of all creation. That's the ancestor way. There's good and bad in every skin color. It's not just a whole race that is one way. Everybody's different. We all have talents, and some of us have the same talent from different races. When I was in university, I studied music, and I went to one of the biggest universities in America, a private school. I got a full music scholarship to go. It was so wonderful. Yeah, I mean, there were Asian people, there were white people from all over. There were musicians from South America, there were African musicians there, and that was our common denominator concerning talents. I mean, common denominators were all human, but we had a same talent of music, and we were an orchestra, and we played brilliantly. Yeah. And this orchestra was consisted of people from many, many cultures, from many different parts of the world. This is the power. Yeah, this is healing power. This has nothing to do with skin color. But it shows you that everybody has a talent, that you may have the same talent of somebody with a different skin color. that shows you the common denominator is we are human. We are ikje. I see people make posts on Facebook and they'll say, proud to be Lakota, proud to be Native. I really don't like that because that's separating yourself. Our ancestors never talk like that. They never said, I'm proud to be Lakota. In fact, the word Lakota didn't even exist in the beginning. In the beginning, they called themselves Ikche. They never said Lakota. They said Ikche. And that's human. This is a human nation. This is the most important thing. So I don't like it when people say those kind of things like proud to be Lakota and things like that. I don't like that because that's not the way of our ancestors. The way of our ancestors is to work with one another, to find like-minded people, and that has absolutely nothing to do with skin color. Nothing. And to find like-minded people, that means you have to take the time to know somebody. You have to take that time. Because if it turns out to be friendship, it's going to be one of the best ones. I know this because I do this in my life now. I have really good friends all over the world. I'm in a much better situation this way than if I just talk to Indians. That's not good. I'm limiting myself and I'm being a racist. If I just say I'm only going to talk to other Lakota people and nobody else, I'm being a racist. This is not the reason why we were created like this. Everybody should learn a second language, to learn to see another perspective. Another thing I really don't like is I hear a lot of Native American racists that will say that English is a bad language. And that's so stupid. That is so stupid to say that. Because if you examine the English language, it has things from many languages. English is not a white man's language. Native racists will always say, that's a Washichu. They trick you with English language. And that's racist. And it's really stupid. It's really stupid to talk like that. because in our culture, we have stories of Lakota people tricking others using the Lakota language. It's not the language that's bad or good. It's the person speaking it. And good and bad exist in all colors, all cultures, all skin colors. So when these native racists say that English is a white man, Washichu, that's a bad language, that's stupid and it's incredibly racist because, for one thing, the word Washichu is not a bad word. Washichu is not a bad word, not at all. If you're going to say Washichu is a bad word, then guess what? Lakota is a bad word too. If you say Washichu is a bad word, then Oglala is a bad word. Sicangu is a bad word. Hunkpapha is a bad word. Sisitrouan, Wachbekute, Wachbetrouan, Bidiwakantrouan. Then you're saying all those people, they have bad words too. Because the word Washichu was created in a way to extend fellowship to the white people. Almost all names of people in Lakota language, they have a funny story behind it. Because humor is a huge part of our language, our culture, and our spirituality too. Humor is a big part of our language, culture, and spirituality. If you walk around saying, oh, hello, brother tree, oh, hello, sister hummingbird, and ha ha ha, you're just prancing around the wilderness or the mountains, and you're all serious, that's not how we are. Humor is incredibly important. If you can't laugh, then you're sick. So these words, they were created as a way to extend fellowship to each other. That's part of our culture. So washichu is not a bad word. Okay, now let's look at the English language. The English language, it has its origin in a whole bunch of places. It doesn't come from just England. It doesn't just come from there. There's words that are Latin origin. There's words that originate from the Phoenician times. And these are not white people. Even the counting, this is Arabic. The numbers 1, 2, 3, and like that, those are Arabic. They're not white man. So all you Native American racists, the English language is not a bad language. Absolutely not. Read some Shakespeare. Shakespeare has written some very powerful things. And he's white. And there's lots of songs that really can explain things in a very beautiful way in English. So it's not the language that's bad. It's the person speaking it and how they're speaking it. And how they're speaking it is a reflection of what's going on inside of their mind. So when you look at these Native American activists, and they're saying English is wa shi chu. That's how they say it, yeah. Wa shi chu. And another really, really dumb thing that especially Lakota racists use is the word washichula. I don't know about that washichula. I really don't like that washichula. Lakota racists will talk like that. And this is so funny because, see, in the Lakota language, whenever something is very special to you, to your heart, to your soul, something that's very endearing to you, that it means so much that you can't live without it. Whenever you're talking about something like that, you put the suffix la at the end of the word. Do you understand? The word is washichu. But if you say washichu la, that means that white person is really special to you. Because some of us, we have good friends, we have partners who are white. And so we will call them washichula because these people are special to us. My Irish sisters are special to me. And so I can call them that, washichula, and that's not a bad word. When adding the word la makes it special. It makes it like, these people are so important to me. They're such a vital part of my life. That's what la means. So I got an email several years ago from this guy on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation, and he was talking about some Belgian guy who is married to a Lakota woman, and he was asking me about this guy, and he asked me, do you think it's right that this guy, whatever, because he's a washichu la, he said. he really put him down. And I really had to laugh because this shows me that this guy doesn't know how to speak his own language. Wichinchala, Hokshila, Tugashila, Lala, Unchila, Mitankala, Misunkala. You see these words la at the end. That's because these are all my son, my daughter, my little boy, little girl. All these are special. Grandma, grandpa. Yeah? And so you put la at the end because they're special to you. That's what la does to a noun. So when you say the word Washichula, it's a white person who's really special to you. So this Rosebud guy was using this word Washichula. And remember what I just said. Washichula is a white person who is special to you. But he was putting this guy down. It didn't even make sense. That's what made me laugh. And so this shows you that native racists, they're dumb. They're really, really dumb. I just wanted to throw that in there. Washichu is not a bad word. And like I said, racism is seeing things in a very closed mind. And when you are racist, you are limiting yourself and you are going against your own potential to be somebody great. So if you're walking around saying, proud to be Lakota, you got a Lakota sticker on your car and you're wearing beadwork and you have this t-shirt of an Indian head and a wolf and the thunder coming down, this is very close-minded. And that goes against the word Lakota. It is a form of racism. So this is why I don't like seeing that. And our ancestors, it's Ikche. That's common people. People who have things in common. That's what it means. We all need earth, wind, and fire and water to live, and we all bleed red. The same kind of things make us laugh, cry, get angry, and get scared because we are human. And when you can think like that, then you can really achieve great things in your life. But if you just associate with your own race and your own culture, you're really limiting yourself. You're smothering yourself, and you're racist. This is why my students are all over the world. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care how tall or whatever you are. All I care is that you really are sincere about it. And that when you're looking at our culture, you have to know our perspective. And part of our perspective is having a sense of humor. That's really important. So it's not about hugging trees and prancing around with butterflies and painting your dog so it looks like a wolf and all that kind of nonsense. People do that. And they're just serious all the time. And that's not our way. That is absolutely not our way. That's a fantasy. And living in a fantasy way is a personality disorder because you're using it to avoid reality, which means you're in an emotional denial, that there's something you're not facing. And the more you refuse to face it, the further you go away from yourself. And then you're going to lose a certain part of your soul. When you live this way, you're going to lose a part of your soul. When you lose that part of your soul, you're really going to be in a tough situation because you need that. Using anything to separate yourself from others. When you do that, you are a racist and you are going against laws of nature. You are violating the earth when you think like that. This is why I don't like these proud to be Lakota. I don't like those because our ancestors never talked like that. Never. That's a modern Western dualistic way of communication. So for all you Lakota people that put these proud to be Lakota things on your Facebook page, you're going against the ancestors. You're dishonoring them because that's not how they were. And when you dishonor others, you dishonor yourself and you dishonor your descendants because you're setting the road for your descendants to be an unhealthy, codependent, abusive, racist, dualistic, paternalistic, dogmatic way. In other words, you're ruining it for your descendants. And I think that's the greatest dishonor, because they're not even here yet, and you're already ruining it for them. You are despicable when you do that. For me, it's ikje oyate. Ikje wimachasha. I'm a common man. That's the way it works. That's the way of the ancestors. People focus too much on their culture or their religion, and as a result, they neglect the most important part of themselves, which is their sacred center deep inside of them. That's not the way of a warrior. That's the way of a coward. In the Lakota way, when you do things, you always have to keep in mind the future of those who are still coming to this earth. You have to live in such a way so that they will have access to these ways. So when you think in the same way as a racist, you dishonor your descendants because you're taking away the road of peace from them. You are destroying the road of peace so that your descendants will not find it. That is incredibly dishonorable. That's not the way of our people. In our way, even when we disagree with somebody, you still respect them. Respect means everybody is allowed to believe what they want to believe and say what they want to say. But when they try to force their ways upon others who they disagree with, then this is not respect. It's not the skin color. It's not the culture. It's the person. It's how they live their lives. That's what's going to show everything. So when you live in the honorable way, you honor the earth. When you live in a way that oppresses others, even your own people, you dishonor the earth. You dishonor the ancestors, and you dishonor the future generations that's still yet to come. That shows you that not all Indians are good. That just because you're born native Indian, that does not mean shit. What means something is how you live your life. So be proud of who you are, whoever you are. And don't try to be something you're not. Because it's not the culture. It's how you live your life. And we all have that opportunity to live our lives in a healthy way.
To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking on that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pila Mayelo. Thank you very much.